Hi there, how are you doing? Welcome to the next episode of Susie's wine review channel, Fermenting News. In this episode, I will put the 2015 Epicuria 100% Syrah from Morocco under the microscope. At the end of this video, if you felt like you had a good time, you learned something new, or just simply like to hear about wine that you might have not tried before, please hit the like button and subscribe so it can reach more cool folks like yourself. Now, let's get down to business. Let's pour a glass. Ooh la la. Okay, so where should we start? Right, okay. So quite powerful nose and really seductive. The grapes are grown organically, so there's no chemicals, pesticides and herbicides used in the vineyards. They also reduce the yields. The vines are slightly older, but they also reduced further the yields as during the growing season. Then they used a very small amount of sulfur dioxide, or a very restricted amount of sulfur dioxide while making this wine. The wine spent 18 months in French oak barrels. Only 18,000 bottles were made. Okay, so let's see what the nose can offer. Quite typical Syrah. So you got the blueberries, mostly blueberry jam on the nose, and some rich plummy notes as well. And you've got the toast and the vanilla coming from 18 months aging in oak barrels. You also have a touch of kirsch, so that sort of a cherry alcohol, cherry liqueur on the nose as well. Let's see how that tastes. Wow. Yes, really lovely. Plums again, the blueberries, dried fruit, sort of dried cranberries, dried raisins almost. Actually, I would correct myself, it's not plums, it's probably prunes. That rich and ripe this wine is, it's quite exceptional, to be honest. The acidity is lovely, high, and I would say the tannins were definitely 5 years ago when this wine was bottled, they were definitely really ripe and grainy and almost powdery, but for now they really soften, smoothen down, and gives this beautiful structure to this wine. Right, so let's talk about Morocco for a second here. So Morocco is in the northwest corner of Africa. It has beautiful high mountains, and the cooling breezes coming from the Atlantic makes it a great winemaking country with great potential. Viticulture existed in the Roman era, and most likely was introduced by the Phoenician settlers. But then the French colonists were the ones who really brought some very serious winemaking know-how into the region. Morocco played a great, very important role in the wine market in the 1950s and 60s until 1956 when it gained its independence from the French. So the French left, and unfortunately they took their know-how, their capital, and also majority of the consumers market with them as well. This got worse in 1967 when the EEC, the European Economic Community, introduced some quotas. Quotas are a horrible word, and they never meant anything good, especially in the winemaking. So that decimated Moroccan exports. So left without the European market, and a very stiff competition from other Mediterranean countries really forced the growers, the producers, to rip up their vines and replaced them with cereals, which is sad. Between 1973 and 1984, majority of the vineyards were taken over by the state, which also controlled the sales and introduced a fixed price for grapes, regardless of the quality. The more and more I'm tasting this wine, the more it opens up, and I can taste this hints of smoke, this flinty, almost graphite-y kind of flavor, which is really interesting in the wine, along with the prunes that are definitely still lingering in my on my palate. Okay, so let's continue with Morocco. The situation luckily started to change in the 1990s when King Hassan II managed to attract some foreign investors into the region, mostly from Bordeaux groups who took up the offer of the prime vineyard land on offer. This investment and replanting and this interest from foreign investors continued during the ruling of King Mohammed VI. So thousands of hectares were replanted in Morocco. Morocco has an appellation system that is modeled on the French one, the French AOC. They call it AOG in Morocco, which is more like an OMG. At this moment, it's still in a work in progress, still developing, improving. It has very little significance in terms of quality. The biggest and the best producers, they are not even using it at the moment. The climate of Morocco. So it is a semi-arid Mediterranean country, but as I mentioned before, the Atlas Mountain and the cooling breezes coming from the Atlantic are creating a cool mesoclimate in the north, and the summer temperatures can still rise up to around 40 Celsius, and there's a very low rainfall between May and October, the major part of the growing season. Another problem can be the prevailing wind that comes from the Atlantic by 65 kilometers per hour. Right, so this wine is made in the region of Meknes, which is about 120 kilometers from Rabat, and it is definitely Morocco's capital in terms of winemaking, with its luscious and fertile landscape, with its altitude and long hours of sunshine. It is made by a partnership, a collaboration between two French men who were heavily involved in French chateaux and Domaine de la Zuna. They visited Morocco in 2001 during a golf trip, and they absolutely fell in love with the location, with the terroir, with the soil, and they saw a great potential in this area. So they did not waste any time. So by 2002, they have created this partnership with the Domaine de la Zuna. Their first vintage was 2005, and since then their wines have won accolades year after year. So the quality is definitely very high, and you can definitely taste the French know-how in this wine. It's so well balanced between the acidity, the alcohol level, which is 13.5 in here, which is a nice sort of mid-range for a red wine, especially coming from a slightly warmer climate. And as I mentioned, the tannins as well are really perfectly softened down now by this time, and the flavors, and it's rich, and it's just a really great quality wine. Food recommendation. I would recommend this wine to drink with sausages, well, the English kind of style of sausages, which are pork sausages with sage and all sorts of herbs. That would go really well, especially if you barbecue them, gives that extra smokiness, or duck breast with the nice sort of fatty skin on, nice crispy skin, or pork belly or pork fillets or something like that, or also chicken liver with caramelized onion. That would go down really well with this wine, I think. If you're looking to buy this wine, that would cost you around £20 on the shelf. Thank you for watching, guys. Please like, share and subscribe if you wish to receive a notification when my next review is uploaded. I can promise you that I will not disappoint you. I will definitely bring you some really exciting wines for wine geeks just like me. You can also follow me on Instagram, fermenting.news, where I post about other great acquaintances with truly exceptional wines that I've had in the past. So thank you for your attention and stay tuned. Take care. Goodbye.